Hello from Gardening at Douentza in Ireland, and this video is clips taken in the garden from the end of April. Now, I was away for 4 days during the latter part of April, so when I came back I took a glut of clips of things in the garden at that point in time, which didn't go up onto Instagram. As you're probably aware, the clips I've been putting up in my last two videos, gardening diary videos, have been clips that I previously put up on Instagram. Okay, I hope you enjoy them, and again I've re-recorded a lot of these clips on the proper camera just to give you a bit better quality. Hope you enjoy it. Cypripedium are poking their noses up. You can see the wet patch around them. That's because I've just fed them. And even the third one down here. Yep. And very exciting news, because this Calanthe discolor, which has never flowered for me before despite being down for several years, has actually decided to flower. I'm out in the garden today and noticed something quite strange going on with this Acer japonica. Now, if we look here, these leaves are quite orangey in colour. Yet, if we look over here, these ones here are really, really yellow. And they're all on the same tree. And both branches are on the same tree. So isn't that just very strange? Whether it's to do with light, maybe the yellow ones are being a bit more overshadowed by the other trees and haven't had a chance to orange up yet. I'm not quite sure. Just moving over here, just to show you while I have the camera out, the peonies are beginning to come. See the dots of pink there? And Trollius, the yellow one behind, and macrantha, the bride, that big snowy white display you see there. Isn't it looking fantastic? It's kind of draped around the rhododendrons at the moment. That's probably not good. Probably a bit too draped. It's going to be blocking the light from it, but it sure looks fantastic. I've been away from the garden for a few days, for 4 days, and just coming back now I can see lots and lots of growth that's shot up in the time I've been away. Lots of dandelions on the lawn as well. One year I asked my boys, I had an open day, and I asked them if they would pick the dandelions out of the lawn for me. I said I'd give them 10 cents for every one they took up. And they were out, I thought there were just a few. But they were out for a while and came back and nearly broke me with the number that they'd taken and I had to pay for. Here we have the Brunnera in flower. It has lovely leaves like this and little blue flowers like forget-me-nots. And the peonies, which are just about to come. And down in this corner here, the Podophyllum we had a quick look at near the beginning of April is looking really quite magnificent now. Look at that, and it's going to flower. See the flowers under there? Unfortunately, the flowers are kind of hidden when they come, but they're gorgeous, and drooping red bells, really nice. and it's flanked here by the Smilacina. Now, if I could bottle the scent on this plant and sell it, I would make a fortune. But it's really quite a handsome plant with a nice kind of arching habit. Very, very nice. And it's, yeah, the Camellia there that was in glorious flower earlier on is going over. But the Smilacina is going to look fantastic in a little while. I think they changed the name. I don't think it's Smilacina anymore, but I'll put the correct name at the beginning of this. These are the orange lily flowered tulips you saw me planting a few years ago. Well, long-term subscribers will have done. And that rhododendron I featured at the beginning of the month behind there is just coming into flower now. I'll see if I can give you a close-up. There we go. It's a glorious hybrid rhododendron. Virginia Richards it's called perhaps. And the flowers are really quite sumptuous. Neat leaves too. And it's Aquilegia season at the moment. This is a gorgeous hybrid I have here. Now the species Aquilegias seed about readily, but the advantage of the hybrid is that it maintains its flowers for very much longer than the species ones do. So you get this fantastic display that lasts for such a very long time. And the disadvantage of the species ones as well is that they do seed about an awful lot, and you will have to weed them out, because if you don't, they'll seed into the middle of other plants and just overcome the original nice coloured ones that you had there. I know I've mentioned this before and it's been very unpopular, but in certain cases you do need to get rid of seedlings that plants produce. After all, the definition of a weed is just a plant in the wrong place. And if your very nice plant produces copious amounts of seedlings that are going to act as weeds, well, you do have to get rid of them. I had my dahlias in this border last year, but looking at it now, it's very hard to imagine where they're going to squeeze in. I know we've a big gap there at the front, but I have a lot of dahlias. And we're now looking at a flower bed in my garden, and just to bring you through some items of maintenance that I need to do here. And as you can see, I've got some blue ajuga there at the front, and I have this very large leafed hardy salvia behind, which produces a lovely blue flower and does tend to get big and seed around the place. But squished in there you'll see a variegated sedum, which is a lovely little plant, and I do like it in this position. But having to maintain it in this position requires a bit of work, because as you'll see, the salvia is trying to choke it out. So what I need to do is several times in the season, I need to come in here and remove any salvia leaves that are blocking light from the plant. Otherwise it will be no more. All you have to do is forget about this for a couple of weeks and your plant is gone. So I'll just remove those. Now if you want, I mean, of course the best thing to do is to remove the plant, put it somewhere else, or else reduce the size of the salvia. This is kind of a workaround I have in place, because I do want that plant, that salvia, nice and big behind, and I do want that variegated sedum here in front. I notice as well, can you see, these are the nice variegated leaves, and here we have a branch that has reverted to the non-variegated form, and this is bad news, because this again will overwhelm the plant. So when that happens, what you need to do is remove the non-variegated branch as close to the root as possible. There. Okay, right. So maybe that was a seedling that managed to seed in the middle of the plant, and well, you know, the variegation isn't necessarily going to come true from seed. So we've taken that out anyway, and we have a salvia in here that needs removing. And even, you know, even good plants like the ajuga here, they're only good plants once they're in the right place. And you can see that this is moving into the salvia and choking it out. So what I will do is pull it back. When plants can't look out for themselves, you need to be constantly maintaining and assisting them, well, if you want them to thrive. Okay, so, and I'll take out a bit more of this thuggish salvia. And look at that leaf there, it has some slug marks on it. Sure, why wouldn't we take that out as well? A lot of herbaceous plants don't mind at all if you remove a good number of leaves, so don't be afraid. Better to try and see what happens, I think, than to just put up with, well, inadequate or less than optimal borders. Okay, well that looks a lot better, and that's it for the moment. And for those who've been requesting the Sarracenia, here is my Sarracenia planter. Well, one of my 3 Sarracenia planters. The one that should have been divided this spring, but didn't for various reasons. And as you can see, I've got several flowers coming. These will be flowers. Now, I mightn't have had flowers if I divided them, but there we go. Well, I'd have had to remove them to give the plant added strength. So the bonus of not getting round to it is that I'll get to see these flowers very soon. This kind of moss thing here just comes naturally from the fact that these plants are kept in a bog planter. I really don't like the look of it, but I know I am alone. I know that it's good for the plant, and I know plenty of people like it. This lovely woodland plant we're looking at is Saruma henryi, and it's an introduction from China. Now, one of the interesting things about this plant is that it's monotypic, which means it's the only one of its genus that has currently been found or is still in existence. And it's a lovely clump forming perennial that makes these very cute yellow flowers. Now, it's a bit of a dewy morning, so we can't see the flowers very well, and it's just beginning to go over now. The way the leaves unfurl is quite attractive as well. Now, I sowed seeds for this plant last year, and it doesn't produce a lot of seed, but I did get 1 seedling in the greenhouse this year. It germinated from last year, and you'll see it in my greenhouse update, which is coming soon. Here you get an idea of the flowers, and the leaves are kind of velvety in texture, so that adds interest to this, well, connoisseur's plant, let's just say. Tulips in the rain. The parrot type there on the left, and the lily shaped ones on the right, perhaps closest to the original Turkish ones.